Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered if the pennies sitting in your change jar could actually be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Well, you might be surprised to learn that some of the most valuable coins ever found in pocket change aren't old silver pieces or rare gold coins. They're simple Lincoln pennies from the 1980s. In fact, the 1981 and 1982 Lincoln pennies hide one of the most fascinating transitions in U.S. coinage history. A change that turned an everyday coin into a potential gold mine for collectors who know what to look for. Most people don't even glance twice at these small copper coins. They toss them into drawers, tip jars, or parking meters. But serious collectors know that the early 1980s were a turning point, a moment when the U.S. Mint quietly changed the very composition of the penny, setting off a wave of valuable varieties and errors that still circulate today. If you have 1981 or 1982 pennies lying around, this is your chance to find out which ones could be worth real money. Let's start with the 1981 Lincoln penny, the last full year the U.S. Mint struck pennies entirely out of copper. These coins contain about 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving each penny nearly 2.5 grams of weight and that deep reddish tone collectors love. But what makes the 1981 penny so interesting isn't just its metal content. It's the fact that it was the final chapter before one of the most important changes in modern coin history, that in 1982, the Mint made a decision that changed everything. The rising cost of copper meant that it was getting more expensive to produce each penny than the coin was actually worth. To fix this, the Mint switched to a cheaper metal, a zinc core with a thin copper plating, effectively cutting production costs in half. But here's where things get fascinating. The switch didn't happen all at once. It took place mid-year, and during the transition, both copper and zinc pennies were being struck, sometimes even at the same time in different facilities. That means the 1982 Lincoln penny comes in multiple varieties, and that's exactly why collectors love it. Some weigh 3.11 grams, copper, while others weigh 2.5 grams, zinc. On top of that, there are different date styles, small date and large date varieties, creating one of the most collectible modern year pennies you can find in circulation today. Imagine it, a single year producing 7 distinct versions of the same coin, all because of one subtle change. That's what makes the 1982 penny legendary. But let's not overlook the 1981 penny, because it also hides valuable errors and rare varieties. Some of these coins were struck using worn dies or misaligned presses, creating double die obverse errors, where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled under magnification. Others show die cracks, tiny raised lines that snake across Lincoln's bust or through the word Liberty. These small details can turn a 1-cent coin into something worth hundreds of dollars if authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Collectors especially prize 1981 pennies in pristine condition, coins with bright, red luster that have never been circulated. High-grade examples, graded MS67RD or higher, have sold for more than $2,000 at auction. And while that may sound rare, keep in mind, these coins are still out there in rolls, jars, and old bank boxes waiting to be discovered. Then we come to the 1982 Lincoln penny, a coin that has truly captured the imagination of collectors for decades. Because of that composition change, this year's coinage is like a treasure hunt all by itself. To this day, people are weighing their 1982 pennies to see which type they have, copper or zinc. The easiest way to tell? A copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs just 2.5 grams. But the fun doesn't stop there. The 1982 series includes small date and large date varieties from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The differences can be subtle: the shape of the two in the date, the spacing, the thickness of the numbers. But those tiny design variations can mean the difference between a common coin and one worth hundreds. The most famous of them all? The 1982 D small date copper penny, a coin so rare that only a handful have ever been confirmed. When the first one surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Imagine a Denver minted penny with the small date design, struck on a leftover copper planchet that shouldn't have been used. This is the kind of minting mix-up collectors dream about. One verified example of the 1982 D small date copper penny sold for over $18,000, and others have fetched tens of thousands, depending on condition. That's right, A single penny from 1982 that you could easily mistake for pocket change can be worth more than a brand new car. That's why collectors pay close attention to this year. If you find any 1982 penny, especially one from Denver, take the time to weigh it. If it's 3.11 grams, you could be holding a genuine treasure. And let's not forget about proof and high-grade business strike examples. In top condition, even regular 1982 large or small date pennies can command strong prices. Some bright red examples graded MS68RD have crossed the $1,000 mark at auction, beyond their monetary value. Though, these coins represent a fascinating moment in U.S. history, the shift from a time when coins had intrinsic value to an era of cost-saving measures. The 1981 penny stands as the last of the true copper cents, a farewell to a century-old tradition that began in 1909 with the first Lincoln design. The 1982 penny, on the other hand, represents the dawn of the modern era. Lighter, cheaper, and symbolic of the changing economics of the 1980s. For collectors, both coins are essential pieces of the Lincoln cent story. Together, they tell the tale of transition, from copper to zinc, from old to new, and the minting anomalies that occurred along the way make them both fascinating to study and profitable to collect. Even circulation finds can be rewarding. Search through rolls, coin jars, or inherited collections, and you might be surprised how many 1981 and 1982 pennies you'll come across. But only by weighing and inspecting them can you uncover their true worth. And remember, coin collecting isn't just about finding something valuable. It's about preserving a piece of history. Every nick, tone, and mint mark tells a story. The 1981 and 1982 pennies mark a turning point not just in U.S. minting, but in how we value the smallest denominations in our pocket. So before you spend that penny, take a closer look. That small copper coin might just be your big discovery. Because in the world of coin collecting, the smallest details make the biggest difference. And sometimes, they can make you a fortune. And as always, if you enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare coins hiding in plain sight, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, and stay tuned for more rare finds that could be sitting right in your pocket change. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Treasure seekers.